greedy woman comes to an elderly beggar woman. The elderly beggar woman says, please give me some money. Instead of giving her money, the greedy woman takes the money the elderly beggar woman earned from her basket. The elderly beggar woman says, this is my money. Please give it back to me. The greedy woman laughs and walks away. The elderly beggar woman follows her. The greedy woman goes to a restaurant where a security guard standing outside welcomes her. When the elderly woman is about to go inside, the security guard stops her. The elderly beggar woman says, I came to get my money back. The security guard says, which money? The elderly beggar woman says, that greedy woman stole my money. The security guard says, are you talking about the woman who just went inside? The elderly beggar woman says, yes, exactly. The security guard says, that woman is the owner's wife. Now get out of here. The waitress sees this rude behavior and comes over. She says, what is going on here? The security guard says, this old woman is accusing the owner's wife of stealing. The waitress says, you go away. I will handle this elderly woman. The waitress asks, are you okay? The elderly beggar woman says, I'm fine. Not making any false accusations. I'm only telling the truth. The waitress says, come inside with me. I will help you. The waitress takes the elderly beggar woman inside the restaurant and says, please wait here. I will ask the greedy woman about your money. The elderly beggar woman says, I'll wait for you here. The waitress goes to the greedy woman and asks, do you have change? The greedy woman says, how much? The waitress says, I have this bill. Do you have two smaller bills for it? The greedy woman says, let me see. The greedy woman takes out a bill. The waitress looks at it and is shocked. She realizes that this is the same bill that belongs to the elderly beggar woman. The waitress asks, may I ask how this bill came into your possession? The greedy woman says, how dare you ask me a question like that? The waitress says, I only asked a simple question. The greedy woman says, wait, I'm going to complain to my husband about you. The greedy woman calls her husband and says, the waitress at your restaurant is being rude to me and asking me strange questions. The restaurant owner says, a rich woman is coming to inspect our restaurant today. I don't want any problems and I'm going to call this waitress. The elderly beggar woman sees the greedy woman leaving and says, please give my money back to me. The greedy woman says, which money? Are you crazy? The greedy woman calls the security guard. The security guard comes over and says, hey old woman, here or you will be in trouble. The security guard starts treating the elderly beggar woman badly. Just then the rich woman who is coming to inspect the restaurant arrives. The rich woman says, how can you two treat this elderly woman like this? The security guard says, this elderly woman accused our boss's wife of stealing. The owner calls the waitress and says, get this elderly woman out of here. I don't want a scene. The waitress says, sir, please listen to me. The owner says, I don't want to hear anything. If you don't do this, you will lose your job. Waitress goes to the elderly woman and says, I'll take this elderly woman outside. The waitress supports the elderly woman and takes her outside. She says, I'm sorry, but you have to leave. Otherwise, the owner will fire me. As the elderly beggar woman is leaving, the greedy woman says, wait, where are you going? The elderly beggar woman says, give me my money back. Pretending to return the money, the greedy woman hugs the elderly woman and secretly puts her jewelry into the elderly woman's pocket. The greedy woman says, I would have given you your money back, but you are a thief. Elderly woman says, no, I'm not a thief. The greedy woman takes her jewelry out of the elderly woman's pocket and says, then how did my jewelry get into your pocket? The elderly woman says, I don't know how it got there. I'm not a thief. The greedy woman calls the security guard. Security guard comes over. The greedy woman says, she stole my jewelry. The security guard takes another piece of jewelry out of the elderly woman's pocket. The rich woman comes over. The greedy woman says, look, she stole my jewelry. The elderly woman says, I'm not a thief. The owner tells the security guard, get this elderly woman out of the restaurant. The waitress comes over and says, sir, you are doing the wrong thing. The owner says, I will fire you too if you keep supporting this elderly woman. The waitress says, I don't want to work at a restaurant where there is no justice. The rich woman comes over and says, I don't want to work with people like you. You can't even do what is right in your own restaurant. The greedy woman faints. The elderly woman says, let me go. I will help her. The elderly woman helps the greedy woman. When the greedy woman wakes up in the hospital, her husband tells her, if you are alive today, it is because of this elderly woman. She gave you her own heart. We treated her badly, but she still helped us and left. Friends, please like the video, leave a comment, make sure to subscribe to the channel.